everybody? Welcome back to another episode of More Than the Title. I'm your host, as usual, Jarrett Thomas, Chief Revenue Officer at Outside the Box Digital. And you know I got my brother, my brethren, your favorite CEO, Chadeo. What's good, baby?
I'm caramel.
With the tone. We starting with
they
the caramel
came back
tone?
from Jamaica with that good tan. I ain't gonna lie, baby. I walked past the mirror the other day and was like, oh, I like that. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Call me the caramel, brother. Now, because normally I ain't gonna lie, I don't go to the beach and all that. You know what I mean? So normally I don't really get tanned up. But when I walk by, I ain't gonna lie, I walked past the mirror, I took a step back and was like, damn! Is that this motherfucker? Morris Chestnut flow.
Yo, don't. See, this is how we starting off the rip, y'all. So welcome to More Than the Title. You see it's going to be unorthodox. You see we're going to have some fun. So shout out to everybody on the check-in, first-time listeners. This is a show where we celebrate our own. We celebrate our people that are putting on for the culture, that have done amazing things in their careers, whether you're a CMO, CEO, entrepreneur, athlete, celebrity. We've had them all on the show. And today, no, just like every other show, we got a great episode planned with an advertising legend. Before we introduce this brother, though, shout out to y'all, the supporters, the listeners, the followers across every platform. Last month on YouTube alone, 80,000 views just on YouTube, thousands of downloads across streaming, y'all. We are a two-man band, and we do this for the culture. So we appreciate y'all, and we love y'all, man. Straight up, the first-time listeners, we hope to see you back next week, baby. And now that we got your attention.
Hold on, wait, slow down.
Oh, we got to outright 20.
80,000?
80,000 on a light one. On a light one.
I like it.
Shout out to YouTube, man. We love y'all. The hate, the love, all that. We love everything.
Right.
Everything. And you know, also shout out to our distribution partners, the Live Podcast Network. So if you want more content from Black content creators like More Than the Title, make sure you download the app, scan the QR code. Half of your subscription to the network goes to your favorite content creators. There's not a lot of content platform networks doing it like that. We don't just talk it, we walk it, we support our own. Shout out to Angel, Boss Lady, and the entire Live Podcast team, baby.
You already know.
Let's go. With that said, I'm ready to get to the shits. Wait, hold on. Where's my sound? I'm ready to get to the shits.
You ready to get to the shit?
Woo! We gonna get to the shit now. I'm ready to get to the shit.
Let's start the show.
Let's get to it, man. First of all, man, I'm just gonna segue this, bro.
Yeah.
Man, this is a brother that I'm gonna be honest with you that I've admired from afar. We've never met. This is our first time linking up in person. I mean, linking up virtually or just meeting in general, man. This brother's name rings out in the industry. He has a distinguished career in advertising. This brother has planned and executed groundbreaking campaigns across TV, digital, and social platforms for leading firms, successfully bridging multicultural and general markets. He's also a Cannes Lions Juror, award-winning creative leader. This brother has shaped transformative strategies for global brands like Google, American Airlines, and Coca-Cola, and is currently the Executive Vice President of Brand Impact at Weber Shandwick, which is one of the major agencies within the industry. Shout out to this brother, Lewis Williams, y'all. I was gonna give you the long list. We're gonna go to Burrell.
Listen, wait, time out. You paused, and I'm like, but there's more.
There's always more.
I'm like, Hobie resume is crazy.
No, it's crazy, man. The condenser, the Chat GPT gave me that. This brother's real. Yeah,
classes in session.
Shout out to you, brother, man. Thank you for joining, man. It's an honor and it's a pleasure, man. Really appreciate you, brother. Well, you on mute, bro. Wait, there we go. Oh, I can't unmute you.
I'm cool.
Oh, my man. Oh, that was cool on the intro. He came in, yo. I'm cool. My man. I'm about to be
COOL, man, right?
Yeah, I mean, you get one of them, man.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, just so y'all know, I shall not be referred to as Unc anymore. My man Lewis in the green room told me that I am a youngster. I said, I appreciate you, King. So we retiring that Unc shit. I don't want to hear Unc no more on YouTube. As per Lewis, I'm a youngster. Nephew. Nephew. I'm nephew.
Your nephew. I'm the OG, you the nephew. So tell them to stop that immediately.
Stop that shit. You heard it first, right here. Nephew.
But man, shout out to you, OG, man. Let's talk about it. Usually what we like to do, man, we like to start from the beginning, man. Like some of your early influences, and we kind of segue into your career and things like that. So let us know where you grew up from, some of your early influences, and then we'll get into how you got to advertising, brother.
Cool. It's a long road, but I tell you, it was a good one. Yep. I just, I'm repping Chi-Town right here, but right now I want everybody to know I'm from Macon, Georgia.
Okay.
Not Atlanta, Macon, and Georgia. That's about 70 miles south. I mean, when you say you're from Georgia, everybody go Atlanta? No. You know, ATL is cool, but Macon is home, born and raised. And hopefully I got some folks on from Macon. I sent the invite down there. Hopefully somebody like jumped on. Hopefully, you know.
No, they out here. If you're in Georgia, chat, put it in the chat, y'all, so we can shout you out.
Absolutely. So, but you know, it all started, man, you know, again, you know, back in the day, I didn't know what advertising was. For me, all I did, I would just love to draw. That's it. I just loved to draw. Going back to the 3rd grade is what I remember. And just got my love for just wanting to draw, wanting to paint, led me to this role. And I say, I got to tell you, you know, blessed to have good siblings, blessed to have good parents, blessed to have a good church family, blessed to have some good elementary school teachers. There's one story. I was in high school or something, and they wouldn't let me take an art class because I had taken one before. And my 6th grade teacher heard about it from my sister. She said, "What? They not letting Lewis take art?" Next thing I know, Miss Mabry was at the junior high school, said, "You need to put this boy," you know. So I'm like, wow. So teachers are like that, mentors like that, you know, putting me on a path that I didn't even know I was going to be on. Right. So, you know, for one thing led to another. I went to part of the Upward Bound program, which is really nice, where, you know, they work with disadvantaged youth or economically disadvantaged youth. I think that's the official, you know, title of it. That was focused me on a career. Went to a local college, studied art. Then I realized, like, painting and drawing is okay, but how you going to make money, man? You know what I mean? How you going to make some money? Message. Then I fell in this thing called graphic design and commercial art. So I went to Kent State University and I majored in graphic design. Now, still, I knew nothing about advertising. I didn't know what advertising was. What? Who? What? TV commercial? I don't know. So after I graduated from Kent State University, I went out to San Diego and I got a job at an advertising agency doing like grunt work, right? But then, you know, I was, you know, hey, I'm from Georgia. I ain't going back yet. So I went in there and let the people know, you know, what I could do, showing them the extra stuff, you know, did that time, spent that little time, you know, overnight, working late, all that kind of stuff. And my opportunities kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Next thing you know, I'm in love with advertising. And then, you know, fast forward to Chicago to now, and damn, I look up, man, and I'm an OG, and here we are. Message.
Like that, man. I like the fact that you started the story off with a very important message that we always like to send out to our audience. You said as you started off doing the grunt work, right? And this is a message that we always send out to our audience. Anybody looking to be successful in any industry, when you're getting into it, unless you have somebody like a close family member or somebody that's like a really good friend that's going to put you in position, 9 times out of 10, when you're in the industry in the entry level, you're going to start at the bottom. So don't be afraid to do the grunt work. Don't be afraid for that, you know, that junior offer or that entry level offer. Yeah. Get your foot in the door, get in the building, show what you can do, and then get the opportunities that will come from.
Absolutely. But also another thing too, because we preach this a lot too, brother.
Yeah.
We don't know the opportunities that exist in advertising.
Yeah.
And the talent that we have in the culture. If you're sitting there rapping right now, you could write a jingle. If you're doing graphic design, you could do a poster. You walk past any Burger King, Popeyes, McDonald's, there's going to be a poster on that wall. Somebody is designing that. Right. So there's a lot of money. I know brothers in the advertising industry right now that make more than the president right now. And there's people in my neighborhood that don't even know they exist, brother. So that's real that you factored. You was like, man, I fell into that. But what made you fall in love with it though?
You know, sometimes, you know, you don't know who you are. You know what I mean? It's like, wow, just like when you were saying, there's a person right now that's rapping, but they could be a good copywriter. They just don't know that they are.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And so the situations and circumstances eventually evolve. You discover. Because I really always was an advertising art director. I just didn't know I was an advertising art director. You know what I mean? Because then I go back and I retrace my steps. And then I go, I was thinking conceptually, but I didn't know I was thinking conceptually. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? It's like, and that's what the thing about who we are. We just don't know. You know, we're not just attuned. We don't see what we could be, right? And so you just not growing up with that. So, but so often now, right? You know, if you're a rapper, you could be a great writer. It's just really so nice just to be around this stuff, to get into it, man.
Yeah, I could imagine, man. What was the first project? What was the first project that got acknowledgement for you? What was the one that was like, man, I'm in the door now. They're not stopping this.
Well, there's been a lot of them. It's been a lot of them.
I'm gonna give you a horn for that. Hold on, brother. He's like, I got a lot of them, bro.
There's a lot of them. And I'm gonna go way back to support.
Okay.
I remember my mother passed away, and I'm going through some stuff. And you know how moms keep everything, right?
Absolutely.
So
man.
I saw this church program. It was a church anniversary, New Hope Baptist Church in Macon, Georgia. And I drew the sketch of the church for the cover of the program. It was horrible. But it was horrible. But I remember when I was a kid around 10, 11, how great people told me it was. Sister Mary, oh, did you see this Williams boy? Did you see what he drew? Oh my God, he's gonna be famous one day. But I remember, so that gave me confidence. That these people saw that and they saw where I was headed. They wanted to encourage me. I look back at it as a trained, professional now. It was really bad. So I got to start there. I got to
wait. So shout out to Sister Mary for the positive, for the positive encouragement when secretly she was like,
hate it.
But got no skills.
but we need that encouragement, man.
Yes, we do.
Kids need that encouragement.
Yes, we do.
You know what I mean? Because I'm untrained. I had never been in a class before, but that's what we need now. That's what young people need to understand, and that's how we need to instill that same kind of confidence in young people now. But then it went on from there. It's sort of, I guess the biggest one where I really felt like I made it, and like a lot of creatives, was my very first Super Bowl commercial. When you hit the Super Bowl, you go, I'm in the Super Bowl. It's a whole nother thing as a creative. You watching the game and you got a commercial coming. It's like it's gonna be the second quarter. You feel like you in the game because you're waiting on your stuff to come across, right? Because either you own the Super Bowl or you're not. So when you get that feeling of being on the Super Bowl, you're working, you just saw like 150 million people just saw your idea. Oh man, that's when you say, I think I'm okay.
Shit.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
You either on the Super Bowl or you're not.
But I mean, you seem like a pretty humble guy, Lewis. But I mean, I'm gonna keep it real with you, man. I'm not being that humble. If my shit is on the Super Bowl, let's be clear. Super Bowl Sunday is like a national fucking holiday. It's like a national holiday, bro. Like, if my shit is on the Super Bowl, I'm not. You know how everybody be like, if you hit the lotto, right? If you hit the lotto, then the next day you going and you flipping off your boss and you like, yo, I quit. Fuck you, Trevor. If my shit is on the Super Bowl and I know my shit is on the Super Bowl, as soon as it airs, I'm just sending out the text like,
yesterday's price is not today's price.
Big fact.
You know what it is. Now,
yo, I know that walk on the office on Monday was real. Your bop was different.
My whole walk different after that. Shoulders is up, chest is all poked. What are we talking about?
A little extra lunch. I took a liquid lunch that Monday.
I know. Yeah.
But I'm taking an hour lunch today, not 45 minutes.
I'd love you to walk us through it.
Well, first of all, I've been on there either 3 or 4 times. Okay. So first of all, I've been there 3 or 4 times. Ooh. But the very first one was okay, young bloods, you may not have been born with this one. It was for Bud Bowl. Bud Bowl was about these little bottles that would play football. It's on YouTube. Check it out. It's called Bud Bowl. I did Bud Bowl 3, which is the one that I was responsible for. I worked on with a whole team of people. So in advertising, you never work alone, right? You work in a team, right? So shout out to all my partners that worked on that. But it was little football players. So they, it's like stop action. It's really cool because the bottles would play each other and it was just really fun. A lot of beer jokes, just nothing but pure fun. That was for Budweiser. So big brand, and we had it was like 5 minutes on the Super Bowl. It wasn't like 1 30-second commercial. Anheuser-Busch got big, deep pockets, man. We bought 5 minutes because, you show 1 or 2 in the first quarter, another 2 the second quarter, one at halftime, then one in the fourth quarter. So we had 5 minutes on the Super Bowl.
That's
Yeah,
5 minutes.
I just want to make sure I got it right. So Bud Bowl, from what I just checked out, came out in about 89, 90. 89.
Yeah, don't be putting no dates on it, man. No,
I mean,
you know.
Brother, you come on, brother.
I'm just saying. He said, y'all might not know about it because I'm thinking like I remember this. I want to make
Bill
sure.
Thurman Thomas in the movie. I don't know who was playing.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
but
I ain't that young now.
I would love to know though. With that first one, right? How did they measure success on that first one? How did they measure success on Super Bowl campaigns in general, right? I know they're looking at a lot of different variables. Like now they would look at website traffic, impressions, social media engagement, stuff like that. But back then, how would they say that this is a hit?
It was word of mouth, man. It's you know, it was word of mouth, right? Did you hear about it in the barbershop? Because here's the thing. It was a time it was the Super Bowl, and I remember something happened when the commercials got more important than the game. You know what I mean? People would say, I enjoyed the commercials better than I enjoyed the game. And that's when the advertising industry started understanding that, wow, you know, to be on the Super Bowl, you got to come with it. You got to come with some entertainment. You got to come with a message. You got to come with a strong concept. You got to do something. You just can't just go in the Super Bowl because the audience is expecting the industry to be at its best. But at that time, it was just word of mouth. You know what I mean? What you talked at the barbershop, what you said at work. Did you see that commercial? That's because that was before social media. Yeah. And so what was really good at that time, it was very authentic. Because right now, people release the commercials, you know, a week before you even see it, you know, things like that. You know, then you just had to, like, you saw it when you saw it, you know, with no replay or nothing. And that really, that tells you that if something stuck with an audience like that, it really was breaking through without any help. You know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, then it was just talk value. It was just talk value. But now, since social media is amplified, right?
Yeah. Now there's proof to that talk, right? We want to see the social shares, the share of voice is what they call it for those in the industry. They want to know how much share of voice, right? So what happened after that, right? So now you got the Bud Bowl. What was that Monday morning like? What was your career like after that moment, bro?
Well, first you want to make sure that that people loved it, you know what I mean? Because you don't want to be bombed and then you come in there like, oh, that shit bomb, right? You know, so it was good. It was really good. You don't want that. You don't want that. But again, you know, you feel like you arrived. You know, you start looking for jobs. So when you send your work out, they go, oh yeah, that was on the Super Bowl. Oh yeah, we seen that. You know what I mean? You know that you've done work that everybody has seen. So people know that you're at a serious point in your career. And that you've been through some stuff to get that level of work to be on the highest stage of advertising ever. So it just puts you in a category, you know, that all of us want to get to, because everybody can work their whole career and like never get on the Super Bowl. It's like a lot of NBA players, you know, they can play their whole career, but never get the ring, right?
Message.
So it's just nice to say, you know what, I got that ring. You know,
that's real, bro. And what advice would you give to young creators right now that are going to be in those rooms planning the next Super Bowl campaigns? What advice would you give, brother?
You know, it doesn't come overnight. You know, you got to put the work in, man. You got to put the work in. You got to put the concepts in. You know, you got to know what came before you. You know, you got to put yourself in the right position to even get the assignment. Because here's another thing now. When it's Super Bowl time in an agency, everybody may not get a chance to work on it.
That's it.
You know what I mean? So you got to make sure that you've been doing all this other stuff to say, because, okay, we ain't wasting time with somebody that can't break it. That's not going to bring it, right? Yep. So do you deserve a shot at the Super Bowl? Do you deserve a shot just to get the opportunity to work on work that could be in the Super Bowl? That's internal, right? So you got to make sure that your game is tight early on, so you get invited in. And then once you get invited in, it's competitive, man. I worked at one big agency, man. It was like 400 creatives, whole bunch of people trying to work on the Super Bowl. They're only doing one, and you in the room, you're in the room with some pretty heavyweight creatives, you know, and some have already favored, right? Some already kind of, they come in the room, they go, okay, well, more than likely they're going to win. They've done 3 or 4 before. They did that one last year. So you got to bring it. So you just got to know your game. You got to have some talent. You got to put in the work. You know, you got to let people know that, hey, you're just not showing up for this. So it's a lot of work to go. You just don't jump on it one day.
Let me ask you this question, though, Lou. Let me ask you this question. The creative process, and you know, obviously every agency is different, but I'm thinking, because I was thinking in lines of like an agency that's going to put $1 million, $2 million, $10 million into an ad, right? You have to be an agency of a certain caliber, because we all know Super Bowl ads of millions of dollars, right? Especially depending on how long you want the ad to be. Is the process like with an agency that has so many creatives? Is the process like everybody kind of come up with an idea and then everybody goes into a room like a think tank and kind of everybody kind of showcase? Like, can you walk us through what that process looks like?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you're right. You know, first of all, you got to have the client that has the money to pay the media to get on the Super Bowl, because I think, how was it, 5 million for 30 seconds this year, I think. Okay. So you got to have the client, right? Okay. So first of all, it's like, what is a client? Everything starts with a brief. You know, why do you want to be on it? You know, why should you be? Do you have a new product you want to launch? Or you want to rebrand something because you got in trouble? You trying to win your people back? Mm-hmm. You number 2, you trying to get number 1. You know what I mean? It's like you got to have a reason. So we create this something called a creative brief, and which is the strategy for what we want to do. You know what I mean? So what do we want to do with this great opportunity? Okay. So that's all thought out. So we all go back, and normally you kind of work in art director team, copywriter team. And I think even now you probably work with social media teams and all of that now. So it does span it out. So you go back with this creative brief and say, you know, we got this brand new car that's going to be dropping, this new electric vehicle that's going to be dropping, right? And so we want to introduce that to the world. Okay, so we know what we want to do. We got a strategy. They've done their research. They've talked to consumers and kind of know what's the pros and cons. They know what's good about it. What is this one thing we want to say about this one product to get everybody excited? Right. You know, then we want to say, what do we want this ad to do? Do we want this ad to be just check it out? Or do we want this ad to like sell something? Or do we just want to let you know, just an announcement that we hear? Because the car may not be made till another year from now. So we just you just got to know what's the strategy. What are you trying to do? Then everybody kind of go back and the timeline and brainstorm and and then you might have 5 or 6 rounds of presenting creative. Like somebody come in, no. Oh, okay. Almost, but. So you may have 4, 5, or 6 rounds in the agency itself, and you get down to maybe the best 5 or the best 3 to 5, and you go to the client with those, and then you might have a recommendation out of that. Client may say, "I love them all, and I agree with your recommendation," or the client says, "I love that, but I don't agree with your recommendation. I like this one." Or the client says, "I don't like none of them." Right. Yeah. Then you go back and no. Okay, why don't you like this? What did we know? Well, you missing no, whatever. Then you come back. But it's a process. And it's not an easy one. But the creative process of it takes time.
What's the time frame on the lead out between when a company will initially say we want a Super Bowl ad and the time it takes to buy the ad and create the ad for the Super Bowl? What's the lead out time normally for that?
Oh, wow. Okay, so if you got a Super Bowl, now things are faster now because technology allows us to do things so much faster. Yeah. But because clients, what they'll do, they already commit to the time. Like they'll buy the space. They're going to say, I'm going to buy 2 minutes in the Super Bowl. We don't know what's going there yet. Right. But we know, because first, if you don't have the space to put something, you can forget it because it sells out. It sells out. So you have something that you can. So that's the first thing that's done. That's committed is the media. And you got to do that months and months out, man.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because the Super Bowl is reoccurring. So I'm thinking, if everybody know this is one of the biggest stages in the world, advertising wise, to get your product out there, right? I'm just thinking, do you know how many companies there are in the world with a brand new product? Like, you understand what I'm saying? Oh, yeah. It's only a certain amount of time. So I'm like, these companies might either buy like reoccurring slots every year ahead of time, or do the Super Bowl say, okay, as soon as this Super Bowl ends, bidding opens up for next year, like immediately after? Because I know it has to be like very quickly.
Yeah, very quick. Yeah, I mean, you got some brands that's like staples. It's sort of like Budweiser. They almost been to every Super Bowl. It's like you expect for them to be there.
Exactly.
You don't have to sell them on that.
Right.
No.
Then you got some new products that probably didn't even exist last year.
Yeah.
You all of a sudden they want to be. Then you like, where's Coca-Cola this year? They set out the last 2 years because they're putting them money in social now because people feeling like, NFL is not what the NFL used to be. But you got to be months out, because here's the thing: after you go to that process of trying to get a great idea, then you have to produce it. So then I want to use a star. Well, that star is great, but that star is over in Australia doing a movie.
Right.
The whole, what I mean? So you got to like get in that, get on that star schedule or something like that, right? So the more time you have up front, then the more time you can plan and get who you want to get. You're like, okay, that person's doing a movie, they unavailable. So now you got to go with celebrity B, a celebrity C or whatever. Or, hey, I want that song. Okay, well, I got to negotiate for that song. You just ain't no call up Stevie or call up Jay-Z. Say, hey, man, we want this. Well, let's go back and forth with this a little bit, right? And then after you kind of just go through the whole decision process of what you're going to create, you got to find directors, right? And are we going to go all over the world and shoot this thing? I mean, we might. The idea could be we're going to shoot this in 8 different countries.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we got to go to South Africa. We got to go to Paris. We got to, you know what I mean? All that stuff. So how big is the idea? And then what's kind of great about it, you've seen some stuff is like it's an idea that looked like you just could have done it overnight. You know what I mean? Like a couple of years ago, it was just a little bouncing thing on the screen. Right? So it's like the low production. Here's somebody that spent $2 million production. And here's somebody that spent $50,000 in production, if that. So, but again, what that tells you though, Chadeo, is like, what is the idea? Yeah. The whole thing, and what I think that's kind of we're losing now in Super Bowl commercials and high profile is that we're losing the idea. We're using celebrities for celebrity's sake. You know what I mean? We're not coming in with no strong idea. We just showing you how much money we spent, but they're not clever. Make me laugh, make me cry, piss me off, but do something.
Message
is not do nothing. You look at it and you go, I don't even remember that commercial. Because it's like 50 of them.
Absolutely. Yeah, but like you said though, like Budweiser, and I know Jarrett, we be watching commercials because we're big into like learning and seeing the creativity process. I think the commercials that are most memorable of all the Super Bowls, like put together, like who had the most. I think Budweiser right now might be
up there.
Like Budweiser had like the Budweiser frogs, the Budweiser, like like they had so many classics that it's like it's hard to beat them, but. My personal favorite from last year's Super Bowl was the NFL commercial with the diversity. I think they shot it in Africa with like the little kids in the NFL. I thought that was very well done. Like that to me was my favorite commercial. I thought it was very well done, and I think the message was a great message to project and send across. That was my favorite commercial of last year.
Now you said something. You said something like, "What becomes the classic?"
Right.
What I mean? And that's another thing. There's Super Bowl commercials, then that's the best. Because like every year they do like the best Super Bowl commercial. And I don't know.
Yeah.
And even though it's like this one that was number one for so long. I mean, it may have been number one for 20 years. And that was the Coca-Cola commercial with Mean Joe Green. And he drinks the whole Coke, and then at the end he throws him his jersey. Yeah. You know what I mean? That was like the number one commercial for like 20 years. I mean, so when you do something that becomes iconic, and that's really what you want, right? That Super Bowl commercial, are you going to do something that sort of you can run it again today or becomes a fan favorite? When you go on YouTube and you look on YouTube and you still see the comments from something that was done 20 years ago that, before people were even born, but they still can enjoy it. That's what great thing about YouTube, not plugging it, but that is a great thing about it, where you can go back and see what was done and see people still have love for some iconic spots.
You know what? I'm as you're saying it, I never see any agency document the process of creating a Super Bowl ad.
Well, it's a secret because we don't want people to know, man.
No, it is. I get it from that aspect, but it's like, isn't it cool to be like, that's your secret sauce? Wouldn't that attract more customers too? It would be like the content. This is the proof of concept. Now, if you're Budweiser, this is what we did with Coca-Cola to make that fly. I'm just surprised they don't use that as like a lead magnet.
Well, there's a lot of always the making of behind the scenes.
Yeah.
There's a lot, right, that comes with that. And but sometimes a lot of proprietary information is there. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So you don't want everybody to know everything. You don't want your competitors to know, right? So you don't want them to know how you think, because they're like, oh, that's how they came up with that. So maybe we should think about doing that more. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So it's you want to kind of keep it sort of under the wraps a little bit, but there's always the making of, how did they do that? How did they get the gorilla to do that? How did they get the frogs to do that? Things like that, which is interesting. But that is something interesting, like what's the making of could be interesting too.
But from a creative standpoint, Lou, we all are creators, right? My husband's an artist. I'm an artist. Right. We do music. I draw also and things of that nature. So when you're a creator, right? Here's the thing about creating. You create something in the moment in the space of where you are in the moment, right?
Yeah.
The problem is if you don't get that piece out in the moment and you keep working on it, you develop so fast in the creative space that when you look back on that piece, you don't like it no more. Like, you know what I'm saying? Message. I was mad at it. Like, do not put that shit out because garbage, because I do this now.
Yeah.
But so and they say it in the music industry a lot. Like when they create a song, they'll be like, "Oh, we got one." So I'm thinking like with the commercials, I think like it's dope to put together a Super Bowl commercial, but I think more so of the fact of it's just coming up with just a dope commercial in general. Like they might have had that commercial sitting there for a year, just waiting for the Super Bowl because it was just a phenomenal commercial. Because at the end of the day, like you said, you don't really know what's gonna go until you kind of like put it out there, right? Because you can create something just for the Super Bowl and it flop. Like you said,
all the time.
And the message not, get across the way something else could have done that you created for, just a regular ad campaign. You know what I'm saying? So just thinking about it from the creative standpoint, that's why I asked that question, because I could just imagine like, what it takes from so many different creatives that think differently and so many different ideas to kind of decide on like
one. And for it to be a hit, like you just named so many different layers. You said mad processes.
It's a lot of decision making, and that sometimes just comes to the gut. You know what I mean? It comes to the gut, and and then what happens in the world. You know what I mean? It's sort of like I remember when we was working on that Bud Bowl campaign, and we had a really cool spot that got killed because this is what happened. We had shot one, and like he drops back and throws the bomb. You know what I mean? And the ball turned into a bomb, and boom. Well, right before the Super Bowl, the USA attacked Iraq. So it ain't gonna be no commercial with no bombs in it, right? You know what I'm saying? And then on the flip side of that, something good can happen. That all of a sudden, sort of like, oh my God, it's just like that year when when Prince played the Super Bowl when he was playing Purple Rain and it started raining.
Right.
He's like, you can't make that shit up.
You can't make that shit up. You know what I'm saying? It's just sometimes it can look, not be so lucky. It can go and make something very successful or make something bomb, or all of a sudden you can't really execute it the way you really wanted to because of the circumstances of the world around you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's real, man.
That happened to D12.
Huh?
That happened to D12.
Yeah.
Eminem's group D12, when they dropped their album, I think one of their lead singles was called Fight Music or something like that. And they dropped it right after the Twin Towers, like right before the planes hit the Twin Towers. They dropped like Fight Music and the stuff that they were saying in it. And then the Twin Towers happened. And showed the whole album. Like nobody wanted to hear none of that.
Nothing about
bad timing. Like their whole album was like drugs and fighting, and then that shit happened. It was like nobody did none of
Fucked
that.
up homes.
Yeah. Because what it tells you, see, it's sort of like
Devil's Night. Their album is called Devil's Night.
Devil's Night. Okay.
Devil's Night. Yeah.
But that, you can
Brandon.
see how this advertising is connected to the world, right? We all connected through this stuff, through this message. One minute you look at it advertising, but sometimes it's much more than that, right? Yeah. It's sort of like world events, and sort of like coming out of the pandemic, everybody like, I need something to make me laugh. So you saw less serious stuff. Yeah. So it's the temperature of what's going on, because we really all connected. Because you can really piss somebody off if you kind of like, trying to be funny about something and it ain't time to be funny for it yet. You know what I mean?
Message.
Yeah.
That's
real. That's real shit. Now we talking about that as we thinking about successful ones, right? I would love to know right now what is the one piece of work that you would hang your hat on? If somebody asks you right now, what is the one piece of work that I'm so proud of? Because one of our main things is impact over metrics. Mm-hmm. So what was your most impactful campaign, bro?
Me personally?
Yeah. The one that you're just super proud of.
God, man. It's kind of like, you got 6 little babies over there and you just asked me to say which one is your favorite,
I got a favorite.
We got a favorite.
We keep it 100 over here. I got 2 boys, biologically, and I got 4 daughters that are not biologically.
They celebrate the realness over here.
They celebrating the realness. You see, that's like purple. That's like rain during the computer knows I'm not lying.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Like I love all my kids, but I definitely got a favorite.
Okay, I gotta say,
favorites. Jarrett, you ain't got a favorite? Don't lie.
Hey,
love my boy.
Let me tell you something.
He didn't verbally say that. He just
boys might be watching.
Hey, you know what? I got a favorite. But what's good for me, I only got one. So I'm good.
Okay. He gotta be the favorite.
So he got
well played, sir.
So I win that one, Yeah. But I tell you, man, let me it's because they, here's why it's a little difficult, because each one that's my favorite, it's almost I have to put it in a category.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Okay. So far, it's like I remember my first commercial that went viral. Viral when, it was viral before people really call it viral, right? It's viral, it's something when you do a commercial and people be recreating the commercial. We did this commercial for a fast food company called McDonald's. Y'all heard of that one. And we did it for Chicken McNuggets, and it started off like an R&B song. You know what I mean? And it was really cool. You thought you were looking at a music video, then it ended up being a McDonald's commercial. It was really great. And what was great about it is how people was recreating the commercial. I mean, the whole commercial. They were singing the song. They was playing the music in clubs. So that way, so what really grabs you is that you got the client that want to be happy. But when the community takes it on and brings it in themselves, that's when you feel like you've broken through and talked to somebody, right? Then there's a Super Bowl commercial I did with this young lady named Tony Harris, that was the first woman to play contact. I mean, we had a lot of kickers in the league in college. And what I loved about that is that the conversation that it sort of like challenged men, because the commercial sometimes is much bigger than the commercial you make. It was what it turned into was a debate about women. Should women be allowed to play with men on the football field? Then it got into this whole thing about men versus women in sports, right? And it was like what I saw these guys on the sports channel, they like hating on the commercial. It's like, damn, okay, that's cool, But what I really saw, that they were intimidated by the mere fact that one day somebody with the body type of Serena Williams or with the head strength of somebody like that might make it on their field. And they felt like the most masculine sport we have, I don't want that invaded by women. You know what I mean? So it sort of made that. But and for her personally, she's really doing that commercial launched her career. She works for the NFL now. She's a commentator. So it's like, wow, this commercial really just gave her a whole another thing. And then, let's talk about blackness.
Okay.
Always been black, always embraced my blackness. I don't run from that anywhere I've been, right? In general market agencies, no, I just don't. And it's
black, yo.
and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker.
If you want to talk about it, we got to give you the intro for it first.
I hear you. I hear you.
We got that ready too.
Well, we did this commercial for the Underground Railroad Freedom Center, which is in Cincinnati.
Okay.
And it was just a really great commercial. And it's sort of like this brother came in for an interview, and an interview went really fucking well, man. He leaves it, and the guy says, "Well, how did that go? I thought that went pretty good." And he turned to the guy. He took the resume and did this.
Wow.
Threw it in the trash. And said, "I think we got enough color around here." Now, but here's the thing. Know what happened? The other guy gets up, walks around to the waste paper basket, picks it up, unfolds it, and says, "I think you dropped something." Wow. And the whole idea was that when you see something racist and wrong, say something. You know what I mean? Say something. You know what I mean? And we did a whole series of those. And we did it reverse side. We had black people being racist too. We didn't leave nobody out because we can't be.
Hold on now, Lou. Hold on.
Hell no. To the no.
Don't try to reverse this shit. You gotta do something now, goddamn. This is some bullshit. Don't be reversing this shit. We owed a little bit of kickback. Come on, man.
That was, sometimes it can be a little reverse at times because we did this we had this whole commercial with the young black girls was at cafeteria because in the cafeterias all the black kids sit together, especially in integrated schools, right? All the black kids sit together, right? So all the sisters and young ladies at their table. And this little white girl comes to the table. The sister's like, "What? You shouldn't be here." You know what I mean? Right. And all the girl was just trying to be friendly, and they told her to get the hell out. And then one of the girls like, "Hey, don't do that." But it just sort of again, just remind everybody because you got to say this is Underground Railroad Freedom Center is about treating people equally, and we just had to go there to say, and a lot of white people said, thanks for doing that. Because it can go that way too. Because some people do try to be your ally, and we kind of hate on them sometimes. You know what I mean? So we gotta have to call it out sometimes, right? So, but those three, and I have to put those in categories because they did very different things.
I respect that.
You know what I mean?
That's why I love advertising and marketing there. Being able to tell our narrative, but able to change the perception, the way people would think about a specific thing, right?
Yeah.
That's the power that we have in advertising. That's why I want to see more of us in advertising. And I think that's why we're not a lot of us. It's still, with that being said, that's a good segue. Like, what do you think, from your day, there wasn't many black people. Now you see more integration, you see more of us, right? We went from multicultural agencies to now just being the agency, right? So like, how have you seen it shape for us or change for us in the industry for black people?
Jarrett, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, or 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Because what bothers me is that
was too real.
I see some of the young people now dealing with the same stuff I dealt with generations ago, and it really bothers me. Because from where this whole thing started for trying to get more diversity into the ad business, and especially on the creative side, and it pisses me off on the creative side because the creative is supposed to be the most open.
Yeah.
But the creative departments are the most closed. And it really bothers me for as long as we've been doing this, we should see a whole lot more.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And so we're doing okay, but the same struggles are real. The George Floyd bubble has burst. I mean, when I was working at Burrell Communications, man, people were stealing my people like. Now we 4 years on the other side of Mr. Floyd's death, and you can see it, they rolling everything back. So now what's interesting now is how the agencies is tapping into our culture. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it was a time that if you were a black celebrity, you wouldn't get in this play, right? Look at Snoop Dogg, man. He was crip walking a couple of years ago in the Super Bowl in halftime. When they did that, you know what I'm saying? It's like, when the last time they had a white person at Super Bowl entertainment. I mean, right? I mean, and it's sort of like look at all the every time you look at a commercial, if you're looking at TV sometimes, and listen to the influence, how much hip hop you hear, how many old songs you hear that's black, right? So they tap into the culture. Listen to the language. Listen to the language that's being used creatively. So they're tapping into our culture more without the use of us. I call them tourists. You know, they come in as tourists, grab our shit, and go back and take it. You know what I'm saying?
That's real.
Because it was a time, if you was a black commercial, if you went on the show called Soul Train, you didn't get seen.
That's real. That's
you know what I mean? So it really bothers me a little bit because even too with social media, you know, like, you know, that young lady some years ago that made the dance, the Renegade, you know what I mean? Yes. And they basically stole that from her, you know what I mean? And things like that. So creativity, the influence of music, the influence of language, the ideas and who we are as a people, our culture is just getting snatched from us without us.
Absolutely.
You know, you grab my culture, but you don't employ me to actually do it.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And that kind of pisses me off because we can do better. We can do better with that.
Well, absolutely.
You know, I got ways I could, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got some bars for this too. Right, I'm gonna let you go ahead, cuz.
I'll tell you what, you lead it off, I'll piggyback you.
Oh, now I was still formulating the bars. I had so many bars. I'm about to condense them. Go ahead, bro. I'm just saying.
One thing I want to say is, so we call that also culture vulture, right? Mm-hmm. Culture vulture, right? But they've been doing that for years. Let's be absolutely clear. It didn't start with the culture of just music and entertainment. It started with the culture of inventing. How about that? Okay. How many inventions did Black people actually invent that they stole from us and put their name on it and patented it? Because you understand what I'm saying? Something that fed somebody's family for entire generations to come without end for an invention that they didn't know the legal side of copywriting and patenting and things of that nature. So they've been doing that. But I want to say this. What I think is happening now is, see, the facade is gone. See, back in the day, it was more of like Black people, we get in trouble, we're angry, we don't know how to control our anger, and we don't know why they're so angry. Why are they so angry? You understand? They don't, right? But now what started to happen with social media and information spreading so fast, you're starting to see them get in trouble a lot more now, right? So now you're seeing them get in trouble, and not for like little crimes, right? For sometimes heinous acts, right? Mm-hmm. And then now we're able to see how your person got in trouble, but you're still celebrating that person. How your person went to jail and came back and still has a full career and or a business that is now even more flourishing from that. See, now you can't hide the fact that you guys get in trouble like we get in trouble. You guys do almost the same thing that we're doing, but now the narrative has changed. So I think with that being understood, they have to kind of champion us now because they understand that we understand what's going on and we're showing them that we're not tolerating it. You understand what I'm saying?
But even with us understanding what's going on, I still don't think we do a lot of it, right? Just look at what happened with the Fearless Fund.
Okay.
We're not talking about that shit enough. I don't know if anybody's not familiar with the Fearless Fund, but it was a Black VC firm, right? Black woman-owned VC firm. And she was basically setting aside funds for Black women businesses, right? Because they only get 0.334% of the actual venture capital in tech or in business. So she created those funds, and they said it's unconstitutional for us to have this. So we can't even help ourselves. Real talk when it comes to shit like that, bro. Yeah. And then on another side, when it comes to advertising and stuff like that, we're advertising agency loads, and I'm gonna keep it all the way real with you, man. I still don't think we all on the same page, but we don't even support each other like that, brother.
Yeah,
let's keep it real. Yeah, we can do better, man. We're a Black-owned agency. We've been in business for 1.5 years, brother. Guess what? I've never done business with a Black person.
A Black company?
Black company. We have not. As OTB Digital, we have not. And we do. And look what we do for the culture, bro. Yeah. We put our own dime into this. We don't got no sponsors. We had a few, but we don't have none currently. We put our own, and if we don't get, we still gonna keep the show going.
Right.
And that's what it's about, man. But we don't get enough support, man. And that's what it boils down to.
And that's frustrating, right? I mean, that's frustrating because that's what I'm saying. We go forward and then we go back, right? We got people in positions that we never had before, but it's not trickling down back. You know, I mean, because I remember when Obama ran for president. Yeah. And I remember, I think Jesse Jackson may have said this, but somebody said, I don't want to run for president because then I can't do what I really want to do for my people. You know, because then you know what I'm saying? It's like as president of the United States of America, he definitely embraced who he was, Michelle and everybody. That's really great. But as president of the United States, he still has to can't be playing favorites because he's the president of all of us.
I disagree. I disagree.
You disagree with that? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I disagree because at the end of the day,
they
you're still the fucking president. So unless you do something illegal, see, here's the thing. Let's not pretend politicians say one thing, get the vote, get in office, do another. That's everyday politics. Let's not pretend that this doesn't happen every single day. So he could have played the game. He could have said one thing, got everybody's vote, then got in office and was like, power to the people. I don't care if I get another. I'm telling you right now, it's fried chicken every Wednesday.
Chad, he can't go
Sundays, and this is what we're gonna make happen, right? Look, here's the thing. I'm not Lewis. I'm not being funny, right?
I know that.
Here's the thing.
Sure.
You know, right? Again, I keep saying like we gotta stop being afraid. I think that a lot of times we are too afraid to kind of like show up for our people because we are afraid of what the consequences was. So if we even talking about Obama, okay, Obama, you didn't look out for us because you were too afraid of the backlash. But guess what? They made your presidency a living hell anyway. They almost vetoed every fucking law you came up with and tried to put out. They overturned everything you did. They went against you. You went in like this, Obama, full-headed gray, and you came out Kris Kringle. You know what I'm saying? Like you came, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are you talking about? So they didn't help you anyway. They went against you anyway. So once again, I'm saying, then what was all the tiptoeing? What was it worth? And the answer really is nothing. It was worth nothing because you got the same reaction and the same almost results that you would have got if you'd have did it a different way. But here's the difference. What I think happened with him is you lost the faith of the people. You see, there's the big difference there, right? If you'd have did it a certain sort of way, not to say people don't still love you, but you would have had the backing of the people. Like, now we don't care. We see what he tried to do.
Business.
That's what he stood on business. That's why Trump gets to do what he wants to do the way he does it, because he has the faith of the people, because he says what he wants, he does what he wants, and they know that he don't care. You see the difference? Do you see the difference?
Yeah. But B-Rock did. I mean, we got to do now. B-Rock did. He did a lot. He did a lot.
I'm not saying he didn't, but he could have done more. He could have done a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
He had his hands tied, like you said. He had his hands tied.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. That office, he could do. You know, he could do so much, but being in that office literally just ties his hands on certain things that even he wanted to do. But just even the mere fact that kids saw him. One of the pictures I love is you ever seen this picture where this little boy, he's probably like 4 years old in the Oval Office, and President Obama's bending down and the little boy is touching his hair? I mean, I think I've seen that. It's a beauty. It just sort of like the little boy's like, are you real? Your hair is just like mine. The president. So I think about that little boy. You know what I mean? And we don't know what that little boy, probably a teenager now. But that little boy might be something, you know, he could be the answer. But everybody, you know, you can't get through it overnight, right? So he did take it someplace as much as he could. But, you know, but I do hear what you're saying, Chadeo. I'm not, you know what I mean? But again, that's why somebody said, I don't want to be president, because it sort of ties you down, because you got to play nicey nice. You got to play the field. You got to play nicey nice, because he is the president for all Americans. So you got favorites, but at the same time,
But there's no different in business, though, Lou. Let's keep it real. Louis, you got to play the game. And I'm curious for you, what does playing the game mean to you? Because we've had a lot of executives on the show. We talked about playing the game. I think we had Perry Fair. Perry Fair was at Barrow. Perry, that's my guy. That's our guy, man. So what does the playing the game mean to you? Or if there's been a situation where you've dealt with racism or something like that, or what is one of the toughest obstacles you overfaced and still kept going forward, bro?
You know, playing the game has a lot to do with who you are as an individual. You know, all of us are going to play the game differently, right? You know what I mean? Everybody, you know, some people going to like, I'll do whatever I do to step over who I need to do. Yeah. Some people really like, I got mine. You get yours on your own. Nobody told me, so I ain't going to tell you. You know what I mean? But I got to say this about, you know, you want to call it playing the game or sort of, and I got to say, this is where coming from the South really helped. When I first went up north to school, everybody made fun of me, made fun of my accent and all that kind of stuff. But I noticed in class, I got along with white people better. And this is what I realized. Most of the black people from Cleveland. And they was urban, big city, and they stayed where they were. When you're in the South, you have to know how to negotiate being around white people, or it can cost you your life. So, you know what I mean? It's like my mother was the help. You know, she was a, you know, domestic worker, you know, a maid that worked in a very prominent, you know, white home. And they were very nice to her. But she came in the back door, right? But she was the most trusted individual in the house. So how can somebody come in through the back door, right, as the maid, but then to be the most trusted person in the whole household? And what allows me being the black, how do you negotiate being who you are, you know what I mean, and still being able to navigate that, you know what I mean? So what happens when they call you a nigga? You know what I mean? How do you respond to that? You beat the shit out of them? Or you go like, thank you very much. You know how many crackers in a box? You know what I mean? So, you know,
Homie, don't play that.
You know, the first time I heard right that, now, Lord, you getting the sock. You getting the sock because Chaddy don't play that. You getting the sock with the powder.
You know, so it's just not, you know, it's sort of like, you know, you got to learn how to navigate that, man. How do you navigate that and not lose who you are? It's like, that's you got a problem with me, but I'm not going to let that. So a lot of that being from the South and having to navigate that space, and all of us navigating that space. So I look at this movie, Driving Miss Daisy. And if you ever seen that movie, you see how Morgan Freeman navigated that family and how he played that game. And like when he bought her car, you know, because he was driving the car. So he done worked out the deal with the man at the car place to buy her a car when she trades it in. And it's like, wow, but he didn't tell anybody. Like my father bought a new car, but he wouldn't drive it to work because he didn't want the people to know he was doing that well, because if they saw a black man doing that well, then they try to cut back on him. So you learn how to navigate it, but never do you lose yourself. And I saw some of the people that just never was in that situation where they had to deal with white people like that, and they were uncomfortable. They were uncomfortable. So they reacted another way that was more militant and was more of a turnoff, as opposed to really understanding the situation they was in, because they was never, ever in that situation.
Message.
I went through that and I ain't care. I ain't gonna lie to you.
He went militant. He has one version, militant.
Let me tell you something. I dealt with that when I first started construction. One of my first jobs was the Verizon building in New York. It was down there by like Chamber Street. We were doing the Verizon building. I was an apprentice, 22 an hour. And I was running late one day. So I had my lady drop me off in front of the job. I pull up in a black S500. So I get out with the construction club, and they're looking like, "You an apprentice, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, first year." They're like, "That's yours?" I'm like, "Yeah, nice, ain't it? I wanted it in white, but I'll settle for the black one." And they was furious, and that's all they could talk about. And I know they was mad, but here's the thing: like, once again, like, we worked so hard. But like, you don't know what it took to get that car. You don't. I hate that for us. I'm not being funny. When do we get a chance to live in our moment if we have to constantly overshadow our own self to make somebody else feel comfortable? I can't remember exactly how he said it, but Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, just said this on an interview a couple weeks ago. He was like, "Don't let my confidence." Something like did you hear that?
He was talking that shit.
He says, like, don't let my confidence overshadow your insecurities.
Right.
Like, when do we get a chance, Lewis? I'm just asking you, right? Because again, like, I understand working. I'm not saying don't work hard. I'm not saying don't pay your dues. All I'm saying is, if you look at the industry, every level you go up is a different set of challenges.
Yep.
Every floor that you go in now is a new set of navigation that you have to learn how to do.
Right.
So if you keep the mindset of every time I get a new position, I got to dumb it down. Every time I walk into a new room and I'm the only guy there, I got to dumb it down. The question is, when do you get a chance to shine?
Yeah.
When do you get a chance to just live the way you want to live?
That's a real question, bro.
Your own self. Because let me just say this to you. You know what happens when you dumb yourself down for other people? You dumb yourself down for yourself.
Yeah, agreed.
Because it's learned behavior. If you start dumbing yourself down for enough people, you stop believing that you're as great as you actually are yourself, because you keep acting like you're not, or you keep dumbing down your stories or your accomplishments, and psychologically it affects you.
Message.
I agree. I want you to agree. Sometimes, like one of the things when I would tell people, like, this is chess, not checkers, right? Yeah. So strategically, how do you make that move? So the last thing I want you to think, don't want anybody to think I would say dumb yourself down, right? But you got to know, like, when do you strike, when you don't strike? You know what I mean? So, and it's somehow it's like never. I think being in the South, it allowed me to do this and do that without ever thinking that I was dumbing myself down or that I was feeling less than. And that's what the secret thing that I got. How do you deal with that without feeling that you had to lower yourself? And that's hard to do. You know what I mean? But I hear everything you're saying about that. It's like
that's something that Dr. Horn, she had one of the illest quotes when we talked about playing the game. She was like, yo, I'm only here to beat the big boss, and that's the chess and not checkers, right? You know what I'm saying? It's beating the big boss, right? Yes, I gotta be strategic. I have to go through this level, I have to do this thing, I have to use this cheat code, or whatever you gotta do to beat the big boss. But at the end of the day, we cannot put the ladder down unless we beat the big boss. So somebody's got to go through it. Yeah, somebody's got to show them that it's possible.
But let me just say this, and we tell this story a lot, Louis. We've had guests come on the show and tell about how long they've been working, how hard they were working, and what it cost them family-wise, as in losing loved ones and things of that nature, losing relationships and stuff, right?
That's real.
I even had guys that I told stories that worked 20, 30, no vacation. I'm talking come in sick, the hardest workers you ever seen, and right before they retired, drop dead. Yeah. One thing that we have to, and I just had in my mind, right? I just came back from Jamaica, and in my mind, what I went through, I had a serious medical condition, had to be taken to the hospital. In my mind, I had a life and death experience myself, which enforces what I'm saying even more, right? Yeah. We can plan. Yes, plan. Yes, plan. But the most ignorant thing that anybody can do is think that you have time unlimited. You don't know. One thing we all know that we all have in common, black, blue, green, yellow persons, we all gonna be born and we all gonna go one day, right? But you don't know when, you don't know how, and you don't know through what circumstances, rich, poor, sick, vacation, by yourself, with family. So again, let us not work so hard and never celebrate. Let us not dumb ourselves down and never live in our own glory. And by the time we think we have the time to, you don't have time at all.
Good point, babe.
That's what I'm saying, right? And I found that picture too. That's what we do at More Than the Title. This was the picture you was talking about.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Found that picture.
Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Louis. Like, I'm not being. Here's the thing, Lou. Like this, one of the most important things of you actually coming on this show is not only you telling your story, right, but them looking at you tell your story. Because in our culture, with the ears here, the eye see, the mind believes. They have to keep seeing that it's possible. But if you don't come on this show and kind of poke your chest out and be like, nah, I did Budweiser and I did the Super Bowl. If you don't do that, then you will fail to inspire how many people that you might change their life by actually telling them what you did and what you went through and what you persevered through. We gotta stop hiding the story.
Because his brother, I'm gonna keep it real, Luke. I was in the industry. It was brothers. I would look up to brothers like y'all would be a name and a number in Zoom info. You'd be people I had to reach out to and cold call and shit like that. But the fact that I saw it, I knew it was possible. I never had the brother put the ladder down. Yo, JT, this is what you do. Yo, Jarrett, this is what's up. I came in straight off the streets, got an opportunity to sell, and I'm a hustler. I could talk my ass off, right? And just found a niche. Right, but I had braids down my back. I'm sitting there dressing like I'm in Catholic school. I don't know how to talk about a water cooler. I don't know jive. I don't know what to do. I'm just being a good person and trusting the gut, like you said, right? But had I had that, right,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like had we have some sort of, you know, like a black guy right now, shout out to Osai. So we had the Black Monday mentorship things, where we could have been, bro. So like you coming on, man, and you just being real, you saying the real, like this is how you got to navigate this shit. It means a lot, man. You don't know who's watching.
Hey,
I
man,
know I was.
on that note, I just got to say, you know, I was checking you guys out, and I was honored that I got invited on, but I just really like the realness, you know, the realness of it, and just like what you guys are doing in your platform. So just kudos to both of you.
Thank you, bro.
We appreciate you, big dog, and we have a simple credo, motto, whatever you want to call it. It's impact over metrics.
Yeah,
plain and simple, Lewis. Like,
I like that.
We've already made the decision that.
Yeah.
See, we already put it out there. Don't try to buy us all for money and then change the narrative. We don't care about that. We're telling you ahead of time. We already understand that with a certain amount of work ethic and we keep climbing, we're going to monetize and we're going to become successful. We're not chasing the money. What we're chasing is the ability to control the narrative.
Yeah.
The ability to control the narrative. Now we get to tell the stories we want without asking. We don't got to ask you permission. Lewis Williams wants to come on the show, book him. What day does he want? See how simple that is? Lewis, if you call us tomorrow and say, hey guys, I got a great guy or a great woman for your show, would love to have them on. Hey, send us their information and let's check schedules, book them. They're on. Do you see how simple that is?
Yeah.
No red tape, no this, no payola. You see? Now we can get the stories out.
Good.
We can inspire people. We can influence people in a manner that we need them influenced, which is positivity. Because they need to hear, oh man, I can make money in advertising. I can make money in marketing. I could be a drawer, a copywriter. I didn't even know that was a real job.
Yeah.
If we don't spread that message, like Dr. Noel said, history will become his story.
Like that.
That was real, man. Because there's a
Yeah.
lot of brothers and sisters that like we know right now. Just we go to the block, we go to anywhere, man. It's like, yo, we're so proud of you guys. We're touching people. I know brothers that never left the block, never been on a flight, 45 years old. Now they're talking about yo, I want to do a podcast. I got the Sony H2, the HD, 6K. What's the name? I'm trying to get it. Yeah, and that's what it's about, Lou. That's what it's about, man.
I hear you.
So you know, I just want to say to you, Lewis, you know,
that's real.
Please, man, you know, continue doing the work that you're doing. I don't know if you are actively mentoring anybody in the moment.
Oh man,
okay.
Let's
talk about it. Go ahead.
All the time.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
I talk to somebody almost every day.
Okay, perfect.
Let me tell you what I'm doing. Okay, there's there's an award-winning show called The One Show.
Okay.
And it's one of the major advertising award shows, right? And they have this brother, Oriel Davis, who created this something called the One School. Now, the One School is that we work out of LA, New York, Chicago, and Atlanta. We every 4 times a year, we put out a word. It's a free advertising school. Free. We get students. We put applicants out. I think we getting like 100 applicants, but we only choose 30.
Okay.
And we got an 18-week program. We meet 2 times a week, and we take them through the whole process. Now, these are raw people. These are people. You ain't been to art school. You went in construction. You working at the bank, and you said I should have. But now I'm 26. I'm 27. I got some babies at home. I can't go back to school. I can't. We bring you back in, but you always thought you had it. We give you an intense 16-week program. We have big-time people. I've had the head of Snapchat come talk. I have big people come in. Everybody is black. Every speaker is
There we go. Here's the horns act. There we go.
You know I'm on it.
This school got in 7th period right now.
We got Jimmy Smith. We got high-end creatives coming in. I mean, they give a whole hour and a half to talk to people, right?
Yeah.
So I'm really, really big on mentorship.
Yeah.
You know, go back to my school, Kent State University. I was just down in Macon, Georgia, my hometown, at my junior high school, talking to some kids. That's what I do, and that's why I'm here. I'm a mentor, man.
I love that.
About that. Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie. I'm a little angry that we didn't have that information beforehand, because I would have loved to actually put that on the full screen and give that information out. But I promise you guys, we're going to get that information from Lewis.
Yeah.
He already said to you that obviously, as it should be, it's a competitive program, but I think the more people that know about it will also generate interest. And when you generate interest, that you can bring that to investors and possibly open up more schools and expand the program, right? So we're going to get this information from Lewis, and we are going to share this information with you guys, because this is a phenomenal program. And if there's anybody interested in this, we definitely advise you to get the information and do what you got to do to try to apply for this program. That's phenomenal.
You see the comment already. Shout out to Brandy from LinkedIn. One school alum here. Change
Hey,
one life.
absolutely, yeah. She said change their
Brandy.
life. See, look,
Come on.
look, Lou,
Talk about it.
let's talk about the domino effect. Look at what we just talked about, right?
Yeah.
You help one person, you change Brandy's life. Whatever Brandy's family dynamic is, 9 times out of 10, if she does better, they all do better.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? So
yeah.
the changing one person has a generational effect, that you can now change somebody's lineage by giving them a skill set that they can now, go and get a job and get a career and provide for their family. It's this is what we got to do, because we got to be able to change people one by one, right? One by one, so that eventually it becomes the masses are successful and the minors are not. Right now, it's like the minors are successful and the masses are in poverty. This is what we got to change, but we got to do it one by one, right? And it's through programs like this, and we would love to shine a light on that and do any information you have on it, please send to us. If you ever need us to cross promote, if there's any opportunity that we can help
to pull up. Yeah, we'd love to pull up, man. Get some content, show people what it's like.
That's a fact. We are begging you. This is the type of stuff that we dedicated our lives to, because this message is the message that needs to be out there. Because you said it's in New York. I've never heard of it. You see?
That's real.
Cool.
Have you ever heard of it, Cuzzo?
Yeah, no, I've heard of one school, but I didn't know it was like that. I thought I heard of the show. I heard of the ad show.
Right.
See? School.
See, so that's what I'm saying.
Shout out to Funny Face. I was one of the kids that Mr. Williams spoke to at his own school.
There you go.
Face.
So this is what I'm saying, right? How many communities have young artists and create? Jarrett's son is 6 years old. My godson, he's 6 years old, and he's like creating mini commercials and web series and all that right now. Right now, at like 6 years old. So once again, but if you don't know, there's opportunities out there that exist where you could start training them from young and say, if this is what you want to do, let me support you from a young age, because that's so important, right? Because if you don't support them at a young age, they tend to put their energy elsewhere, right? Right. So we don't want him putting his attention and his energy elsewhere. We want to say, if that's what you want to do, you can be that. But we need to get that information to our communities and disseminate it so that people know that this is a possibility.
I do got a question for you too, Lewis, bro. Because mentorship, man, how do you balance all of the responsibilities, man? Life be life and creative, your work, job, family, mentorship, man. Because shout out to my brother Walt. Walt is one of the most giving people, most genuine people I know, man. He recently had a stroke, man, and it's like he kept it real. It was like us balancing all of that. You know what I mean? Because we people, I could tell from your heart, bro. You just one of those, somebody hit you up, same way I hit you up. You didn't know us, I got you. Gave me a date. You know what I mean? How do you balance all of that, brother?
You just do. You know what I mean? Because, it's kind of like, I don't see it as work. I just see it as purpose. You know what I mean? So it's like everybody got 15 minutes somewhere. I mean, you know what I mean? So it's like, what's the priority, right? Because we all really do. End of the day, we all do what we want to do. Even if you busy.
You almost got a double message.
You got a double message?
Same time, bro.
Double message on that.
You know what I mean? Let's just be honest. We all make time for who and what we want to make time for.
That's a fact.
And so that to me is just because I just know what that meant to me.
Yeah.
And maybe I got it from my mom, whatever, but that's what it meant to me. And it's like, and if, like you said, if one person, you able to help that one person, that one is generational. It's generational, right? And so that's just how I look at it. You know what I mean? It's like, you know what? I'm really crazy. I can't talk to you in 3 weeks, but I'll talk to you in 3 weeks.
Let me just show you real time. Let me just show you what mentorship does in real time.
Okay.
Me and my cousin grew up in the same neighborhood, extreme poverty, violence, etc. But through people talking to us, mentoring us, and educating us, we started one way down a certain path and completely changed our lives. We're now business owners, right? We're now business owners, and we're building multiple businesses, and we're spreading the message back to the community. Look at the ripple effect that mentorship had on us, that we're now, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Let's look at that. We're just two kids. And we were just two inner city kids that got mentored and got taught certain things, foundation, and we use that to make certain decisions in our lives to try to better our lives. But the ripple effect that goes now through that is not only are we building our families, but guess what? We're giving information to organizations for kids to help you build your family. We're providing a platform to have people come in and tell their stories for inspiration for other families. You see the ripple effect that has?
Yeah.
The ROI for that cannot be quantified.
You know, at that point too, it's interesting too that, and you know, it's kind of like, you know, we like, you know, we follow the NBA and everything, and it's kind of interesting now. You see how many sons are in the NBA now?
Yeah.
You know, and I want to say my son is in the business, right? And it's kind of interesting too, like even family wise, right? How it's beginning to just even come home as well. You know what I mean? It's like, it was a time is that we didn't know anybody, but now all of a sudden it's like, I don't know what it's like to be a kid who daddy would have been in the business. Like for your kids, right? He's 6 years old and he doing stuff. Can you imagine what that would have been like for you all if that was in your house? You know what I mean? It's like at your kitchen. And it's sort of like, that's what kind of say, okay, we getting there. But at the same time, he and other kids like him, not kids, young people like him, still dealing with the same stuff that their fathers and mothers dealt with. And that's what pisses me off.
Well, some things, Lou, have changed, and some things really haven't changed. Even though there's more of us in the building, we still don't control the building. They still do control the building, right? Even though there's more of us getting high level positions, they're still at the higher positions hiring us, right? For whatever reasons. You understand what I'm saying? But what is so important is now a lot of young people can work for their last name. You see what I'm saying now?
Message.
Go in your house and you look at all your products, Johnson and Johnson and this Kruger and Heinz. These are all people and their families that are eating from you supporting them generationally. Now we can show our families, guess what? You can work with the family if you want, come into the business, help us build this business that can feed our family generationally. There's the narrative, right?
Real, man.
And for us to be able to change that, there you go.
It's major, and that's what this is for, man. I know we coming up to time, brother. I got so many questions, but I know we coming up, bro. I just want to say, man, thank you, brother. Like real talk, man. Thank you for being real. Thank you for being transparent. Thank you for pulling up, man. You are now part of the More Than Entitled family, brother. And if there's anything that we can do, if there's anybody we spoke to, if there's anything that we can do, if you got something happen in New York City, you let us know. You want to grab a beer, you want us to, we will be there, brother. So you just let us know, man. It's really real.
Let me say this one thing before we go.
Yes, sir.
And it sort of kind of kept my head on straight.
Okay.
This whole thing. And my father used to work outside. And I remember he came home one day in Georgia. It was like February. It was really cold. So we sitting down having dinner.
It ain't never cold in Georgia, Louis. Stop it.
What you called already?
That was before I moved to Chicago. You know, anyway. But at that time, it was really cold. But you know, working outside. And my father came home dirty, man. You know what I mean? You and I look at us. Okay, it looked like we work. You know what I mean? But my father came home. This man worked.
Yeah.
And I remember he was having dinner. And he looked at me and he said, "Whatever you do, son, get a job inside." And for me, my whole advertising career is a job inside. Now, he really, to this day, never really understood what I did.
Right.
But all he needed to know is that I raised a son that didn't have to work outside like he did. Oh, and that's, I'm entirely grateful for that. And thank you guys, man. Thank you guys for having me,
brother. That's real, man.
How do you even beat that's it right there. Like, that's such a powerful message, man. Like,
That's it. Same with me, man. I'll give you quickly, man. My pop, same thing. 27 years, man. 2 jobs from 7 in the morning to 11 o'clock at night. Couldn't even understand. He come home 11 o'clock at night, sleep maybe at 3, pop back up at 6 to put us through Catholic school, man. So that what it taught me was work ethic, right?
Yeah.
Broke his back, did everything he needed to. He'd sit there, coach basketball team right next door, and still go back to work. And when I'm about to go to sleep, he's just walking in the door, man. It taught me work ethic. And what do you want? And what do you got to sacrifice for your family? He sacrificed everything, man. That's why I'm able to do what I'm able to do, and now we can sacrifice for our kids.
Yeah.
So let me piggyback. See, I don't have that story because my biological father wasn't around when I was a child. But guess what? I had his father to look at. You see? I had his uncles to look at. And again, that mentorship, even though I didn't have a full-time father in my house, I was able to see what one looked like.
Yeah.
See, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, still there. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So I just, that was super powerful. Let the people know where they can find you. Because first of all, I just want to say this is only part 1. We have got to have a part 2 with this. We gotta have a part 2. But let the people know, because I guarantee first of all, there's so many people tuned in right now. Like,
shout out to y'all.
There's a lot. Shout out to everybody that's been tuned in, and there's so many people tuned in right now. Let anybody let the fans know where they can find you, because I guarantee you there's going to be a lot of people that want to reach out to you after they see this interview.
Okay, so for everybody on LinkedIn, you can find me on LinkedIn, Lewis Williams, there. I have let's say, I think if you want to see any of my work, it's lewiswilliams.work. If you want to see some of the commercials and stuff I've done, lewiswilliams.work. But I think the best way probably for everybody is LinkedIn, right? Everybody pretty much have access to LinkedIn, or am I, I don't want to get my work email. I mean, it's like, I don't mind giving that out or anything, but we can, that's easy for me to get through to LinkedIn.
Nah,
just hit him up on LinkedIn. Lewis Williams, y'all. Lewis Williams, guys, is spelled right there on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Okay. EVP of Weber Shandwick. Let us know. Just once again, bro. Thank you, man. This was real. This is part 1. Hopefully we're gonna talk to you, man. Hopefully we see you next week in Cannes, man. If not, we'll have a recap. We're gonna be on the break bread, man. But this was love, man.
And we want to invite you anytime you're in New York, man. Please let us know if it's an event you're doing or something, and we can support you by just showing up, because we show up a lot, right?
We about to go somewhere to show up for somebody else right now, for another guest.
Literally right now. That's now when we walk out here, we going to support somebody.
Y'all a great team, man. We gotta do something. Together. Y'all a great team.
We have Lewis's personal number.
No, if you could put it in the private chat, Lou, that'd be great.
I'll do it in the email. I got both of y'all email.
Okay, perfect. What we do, just so you know, Lewis, what we do with all our guests, we create a group chat with us three, with whoever the guests are. That way we can just communicate directly. There's no red tape. There's no assistance and stuff like that. That way, if you have a question, we can answer it immediately, right? That way, if you need assistance with something, we can get to it immediately. We don't like all the red tape, and you understand stuff like that. So if it's somebody you want to meet, or it's like, oh, I seen somebody on your show, would love to connect, we get it immediately, and you'll get a response within 10-15 minutes, and we can just put it together and get it done. But we don't believe in gatekeeping and all that. You understand? If you want to do something, just like you said, right? Everybody got 15 minutes, right? If you want to do something, just do it. We ain't doing all the excuses and all that, right? If you want to do something, then you'll do it. So when you send us that info, we'll link up. But like I said, you're a part of the More Than the Title family. Any past guests that you've ever seen, any future guests that will come on, you still have access to it. All our guests understand that that's what we do. We're building a network, and I enjoyed this conversation. We got hopefully in person.
Yeah, we got Dr. Marcus Collins on next Tuesday, y'all.
Oh, you got tell him I said hello, man. Tell Marcus I said hello.
Well, listen. No, we'll send you the link. You could come on the show and pop in and say hello yourself. Why not?
Okay,
why not? We'll send you the link as a guest, and come on in and say hello. Why not? It's our show. We can do that.
I love to. Let me know.
So much love, man. Everybody listening, make sure y'all please subscribe. Go to YouTube, subscribe, like. That's how we can grow. That's how we can monetize the page to give you more great content. So we appreciate y'all, man. We love
like
y'all.
The comments too.
Yes, sir. So we're gonna see y'all. We see y'all next week, man. We out of here, man. Let's get it.
All right.
All right, y'all.
It's all about me.